Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Sauce. Thursday, definitely not my day in the MLB. I got absolutely crushed. All the winnings from Wednesday, that awesome Wednesday I had, gone. Whatever, let's shake it off, put it in the past, move on to Friday. My favorite baseball day to bet, Friday. We got 15 games to get through. Let's go.
Welcome to the Sauce. The Sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
First up, Milwaukee at Cincinnati. Corbin Burnes pitching against Brandon Williamson. Brewers open up as heavy favorites here, minus 205. Total opens up at 9.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're looking at 3-0 Reds after 5 innings. Final score 5-1 Reds. So we're looking at the Milwaukee Brewers against a lefty. Should we just pause the video and go bet the Reds right now? I mean, sign me up. I know Corbin Burnes is a beast, but the Brewers have now lost 4 of his last 5 starts, and he hasn't even been great during that span. I mean, look at his splits against right-handed bats. 351 WOBA, 3.0 home runs per 9 inning. That's bad. And 655 FIP is also bad. The Reds regularly start 6 right-handed bats in their lineup, so might not be the greatest spot for Corbin Burnes. Do I really need to go through for the 1,000th time how bad the Brewers lineup has been against left-handed pitching? I mean, this has been the worst lineup in baseball against lefties for pretty much this whole season. The last 9 lefty starters to face the Brewers, 8 of them have held the Brewers to 2 runs or less. 7 of them have held them to 1 run or less. So they have just been terrible against lefties. I know Williamson may not look great through his first 3 starts, but I mean, he pitched against the Cubs and the Cardinals, 2 tough lineups to face if you're a left-handed starter. They're both top 7 teams in WRC plus versus lefties. Brewers, dead last. And we also have to add on the fact that Milwaukee's bullpen has just been terrible. I mean, they're 27th in WOBA and 24th in ERA on the road this season. I know the Reds just got us. That streak finally ended last night, but I'm not willing to give up on the Reds, especially at a plus money price with a lefty on the mound against the Brewers. Give me the Reds money line at plus 155 next game. Oakland at Miami. Hogan Harris is set to be the starter against Edward Cabrera. Marlins open up as heavy favorites here, minus 195. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we got a heavy lean on the under here. 0-0 after 5 innings. Final score 2-0 Marlins. I'm going to skip this one for now. I know it says Hogan Harris is the starter, but it always, about once a week, Oakland lists Hogan Harris as their starter, and then they end up starting someone else. So I'm going to wait and see who's definitely pitching for this one. I'll probably have a pick for this one on the live show at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Next game. St. Louis at Pittsburgh. Jack Flaherty pitching against Roansy Contreras. Cards open up as minus 165 favorites here. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're looking at 4-2 Pirates after 5 innings. Final score 6-3 Pirates. What on earth has happened to the Cardinals bats, man? I mean, they started off the season terribly. They were awful to start the season. And then they went on a rampage. In between the dates of May 4th and May 23rd, they were averaging 6.8 runs per game. It's almost a 3-week span. They were murdering the ball. Now they're back to their old ways. They're averaging just 2.1 runs per game in their last 7. And they're a road favorite with Jack Flaherty on the mound. I don't think so. Now, Flaherty's looked better recently. There's no denying that. And his road ERA is a 3.82, nearly 2.5 full runs lower than his home ERA. So he's been somewhat decent on the road. But Flaherty has some seriously concerning splits against left-handed bats, and the Pittsburgh Pirates regularly start 5 lefties in their lineup. Add on the fact that the Pirates lineup has been hitting right-handed pitching recently. They're quietly 5th in WRC plus in the last 14 days against right-handed pitching. I think this might be a sneaky spot to take the Pirates. Really tough to make a case for Roansy Contreras, mostly because he's been just so wildly inconsistent. I mean, his last 4 games, he got absolutely rocked by Toronto and Houston. But then, against the Reds and the Dodgers, he pitched 12 2/3 innings of 1-run baseball. So just so streaky and inconsistent. Contreras also has some really rocky-looking career numbers against the Cardinals, but Pittsburgh has won his last 4 starts against St. Louis. Also, keep in mind, this is a Cardinals lineup that couldn't hit off the Royals bullpen for 9 innings when they were missing their main 2 arms. They also couldn't hit at home against Zach Greinke. Anyone could hit at home against Zach Greinke. The Cardinals bats are that cold. And if we're talking bullpens, the Pirates have outperformed the Cardinals in basically every single aspect. So at plus money, yeah, I'll take Pittsburgh money line, plus 115 next game. Phillies at Nats. Zach Wheeler pitching against Josiah Gray. Phillies open up as heavy favorites here, minus 210. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we got to lean on the Nats here. We're looking at 3-1 Nationals after 5 innings. Final score 5-2 Nats. So at first glance, this looks like a great spot for Josiah Gray. I mean, he's having an excellent season. He truly has been great. And he's facing a Phillies lineup that's just in the middle of a slump. They scored 3 combined runs in that entire series versus the Mets. In the last 2 weeks, the Phillies bats are just 26th in WRC plus against right-handed pitching. On paper, Josiah Gray should absolutely dominate this Philadelphia lineup. I do have some concerns though. Number one, he struggled against left-handed bats, and that's especially concerning here because the Phillies' main offensive pieces are lefties. I'm not going to read too much into that though because the Phillies have been that bad against right-handed pitching, so I'm going to put that to the side. But on the other side, we have Zach Wheeler, and this is where backing the Nationals gets a little shaky. Usually I'm down to fade Zach Wheeler on the road. His last road start, he was dominant, but it was in Atlanta, and he always pitches well against Atlanta. But hear me out. We got the Nats, who are 5th in WRC plus versus right-handed pitching in the last 2 weeks. We got Zach Wheeler on the road, Josiah Gray pitching. This should be a hammer spot for Washington at this price, right? Well, despite all that, Zach Wheeler's won his last 4 starts in Washington. So even though I love fading him on the road, he just keeps winning in this ballpark. I mean, look at these career numbers against Wheeler. The Nats lineup lifetime, just a 181 average and a 405 OPS. That's through 83 career at-bats, so a solid sample size. They've really struggled to hit Zach Wheeler. I'm not going to let it scare me off the bet. I am on the Nats. I'm taking Washington money line at plus 160, but if it wasn't for those the success Wheeler's had in Washington, this would be possible bet of the day. It's probably just going to be a half unit bet for me. So give me the Nats next game. Rays at Red Sox. Tyler Glasnow pitching against Garrett Whitlock. Tampa Bay opens up as minus 130 favorites. Total opens up at 9. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're looking at 3-1 Red Sox after 5. Oh no, 3-0 Red Sox after 5 innings. I'm sorry. Final score 5-1 Red Sox. I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to fade Tampa again here. We hit on the Cubs money line twice in that last series. The Rays on the road have proven they are vulnerable as hell. Tampa's just 5-9 in their last 14 road games, and they continue to get priced as if they're the best team in the MLB, which they are record-wise, but they certainly haven't played like it on the road recently. If Boston's bats are back, and that's a big if, if they're back, this should be an easy layup plus money cash. I mean, the Red Sox did score 21 runs in their last 3 games, that 3-game series against Cincinnati. So I don't know if I'm ready to declare the Red Sox bats officially back, but if they are, this should be easy plus 105 hit. I'm really not scared of Tyler Glasnow yet. Maybe in a few more starts, maybe he finds his groove, but he certainly doesn't scare me right now. Give me Boston money line at plus 105 next game. Blue Jays at Mets. Chris Bassett pitching against Justin Verlander. Mets open up as minus 140 favorites. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and we got to lean on Toronto here. After 5 innings, we're looking at 4-3 Blue Jays. Final score 7-4 Blue Jays. This one's pretty simple for me, and I know Justin Verlander's been inconsistent. In his last 5 starts, he's got 3 good ones and 2 bad ones, but the Mets are playing good baseball. The Mets are officially all the way back. They're 10-4 in their last 14 games. Toronto, meanwhile, is 3-6 in their last 9 on the road. Verlander's got phenomenal career numbers against this Toronto lineup. Blue Jays threw 95 career at-bats, just a 168 average and a 465 OPS versus Verlander, so they have not had success hitting this dude. And I keep saying this every single day, but if you take out that 20-run game against Tampa, where they scored 11 runs in the 9th inning off the Rays outfielders, the Blue Jays are averaging just 3.5 runs a game in their last 7. I really don't trust the lineup right now. I don't trust them to produce here against Verlander. But my main reason for backing the Mets is on the other side, Chris Bassett. And I mean, there's just so many reasons to fade this guy right now. First of all, he's on the road. Chris Bassett, dating back multiple seasons now, has been unreliable on the road. Always down to fade Chris Bassett on the road. His last 2 road starts were terrible, and it gets even worse. Check this out. So look at Chris Bassett's numbers on the road against left-handed bats. 508 WOBA, 4.5 home runs per 9, and a 9.57 FIP. I've never seen numbers that high against a Mets lineup that has 5 of their first 7 hitters being lefties. Mets have 5 lefties out of their first 7 batters. I mean, Bassett should get absolutely crushed here. Keep in mind, the Mets bats have been red hot against right-handed pitching. They are back. Now, the Mets bullpen is a little bit taxed here, but they didn't use Ottavino or Robertson to close out the series in Philly. So as long as Verlander is able to go 6 innings, it shouldn't be a problem. I'm definitely on the Mets here. I actually already bet this one. I got it at minus 134 on Barstool. When I saw that, I hopped on it. So give me the Mets money line. Let's go Mets. Next game. Mariners at Rangers. Louis Castillo pitching against John Gray. Mariners open up as -150 favorites. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're looking at 4-1 Rangers after 5 innings. Final score 6-2 Rangers. So Louis Castillo is coming off 2 straight incredible starts. 12 innings of shutout baseball, allowing 5 hits and striking out 18 guys in the process. So we should back him here, right? Well, hold on. Those 2 starts were against the Pirates, a team that he's historically owned over the course of his career. And the other start was against Oakland, a team that's comprised of mostly AA hitters. Now he has to go on and face Texas, the same Rangers that went into Seattle and managed 8 hits and 3 runs off him in just 5 innings of work. The same Rangers who are 3rd in WRC plus versus right-handed pitching over the last 14 days. This is a different story than pitching against the Pirates and the Oakland Athletics. Speaking of red-hot starting pitchers who are due to get rocked, we got John Gray pitching for Texas on the other side. He's been on an absolute warpath. In his last 4 starts, he owns an unholy 1.00 ERA and an 0.78 whip. He's been absolutely dealing, but he has some really concerning history against Seattle. Career, he's just 1-3 with a 5.79 ERA against the Mariners. Now, I don't trust the Mariners bats. I mean, Seattle's lineup has been inconsistent this whole season. I've been saying that since the offseason. I didn't trust this offense, but they do always seem to come to play for this division rivalry here. In their last 8 trips to Texas, the Mariners are averaging 5.3 runs per game. So the offense does tend to show up for these matchups. So that's the angle I'm playing. I think both these pitchers who are red hot, putting up awesome numbers, I think they're both going to get rocked here with a super low total in the first 5. First 5 over 4 at -105 on Bet365. I love it. Let's lock that in. Next game. Angels at Astros. Shohei Ohtani pitching against Framber Valdez. Houston opens up as -130 favorites here. Total opens up at 7.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. We're looking at 4-3 Angels after 5 innings. Final score 6-6. So no real lean there as far as picking a side. So obviously we got 2 ace pitchers on the mound here. Framber Valdez has been an absolute stud all season as expected, but he hasn't really been getting rewarded for it at home. Through his 7 home starts, the Astros are just 2-5 with Framber on the mound. He now faces an Angel team that's been smashing left-handed pitching. They're 4th in WRC plus against left-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks and on the full season. Now, Framber does have some pretty crazy history against the Angels, but that's not the case if you isolate it to just his games at home in Houston. In fact, his last 3 home starts against the Angels, he's just 1-1 with a 7.04 ERA and a 2.1 whip. The Angels have come into Houston and rocked Framber Valdez. And he seems to be following that same pattern, considering earlier in the season he went into LA and completely blanked the Angels. Add on the fact that he's coming off 2 straight dominant starts against Oakland, I think this is a bit of a sell high spot for Valdez. On the other side, we got Shohei Ohtani. Obviously, it's super rare that we get the opportunity to bet this guy as an underdog. He's got some truly excellent recent history against Houston. In his last 5 starts against the Astros, he's 4-2 with a 1.68 ERA and an 0.93 whip. He's had a lot of success against this team. He's flat out dominated them, actually. So even though at first glance it looks like an even matchup between 2 ace pitchers, but I actually think, given the spots and the history, that Ohtani and the Angels have the starting pitching advantage here. As far as the bullpen goes, Houston has definitely been outperforming the Angels, so I'm going to isolate it to the early innings. I'm going to take the Angels' first 5 money line at -105. Next game. Tigers at White Sox. We got Reese Olson pitching against Mike Clevenger. Who the hell's Reese Olson? I don't know, and exactly why I'm skipping this game. I have no idea who he is. There's plenty of games on the board. No need to force a bet on this one. Maybe Prop Beaver or Toast can shed some light on this guy in the live show at 4 p.m. I got nothing. Next game. Rockies at Royals. Chase Anderson pitching against Jordan Lyles is on the mound. Royals open up as favorites with Jordan Lyles on the mound. Wow. -120. Total opens up at 9. So this is a pretty short description here. The Kansas City Royals are now 0-11 in Jordan Lyles' 11 starts this season. 0-11, and they're giving us Colorado at plus money. Do I need to say anything else? I don't have a ton of confidence in Chase Anderson, but I mean, numbers don't lie. He's got great looking numbers in his 3 starts with the Rockies this year. 15 2/3 innings, just 13 hits, 3 earned runs, and 4 walks total in all 3 starts. And all 3 starts were at home, you could say that, but his home is Coors Field, so is that even an advantage? I mean, those are great numbers for 3 starts at Coors Field. This is just straight up me fading Jordan Lyles because he always loses. Rockies money line at plus 102 next game. Cubs at Padres. Jameson Taillon pitching against Michael Wacha. Padres open up as pretty significant favorites here, minus 155. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, after 5 innings, we're looking at 4-0 Padres. Final score 6-0 Padres. This spot absolutely sucks, man, because every single number points to an easy Padres win here. I mean, you got Michael Wacha, who's been pitching absolutely insane. Have you looked at this guy's numbers in the month of May? He's made 5 starts. He's thrown 32 innings, just 3 total earned runs allowed in the whole month. He's 3-0 with an 0.84 ERA in his 5 May starts. He's been unstoppable. He's pitching like a Cy Young candidate right now. He's now at home facing a Cubs lineup that's been absolutely ass. Cubs are 25th in WRC plus, or it's right-handed pitching in the last 14 days, 28th in the last 7 days. They can't touch right-handed pitching right now. Michael Wacha is probably the last arm the Cubs bats want to see right now. So Wacha should throw an absolute gem. And on the other side, you got Jameson Taillon pitching. He should be on everyone's auto fade radar, right next to Jordan Lyles. I mean, the Cubs are 0-8 in Jameson Taillon's 8 starts. In his 5 starts in May, he's yet to pitch a full 5 innings once. In fact, he's averaging just over 3 innings per start. He's got a 10.90 ERA and a 200 whip. Madison Bumgarner territory. He's been absolutely awful. So why are we not absolutely hammering San Diego at this price? Well, the spot sucks. Like I said, they just played 9 straight games on the East Coast. Washington, New York, Miami. Then they immediately had to fly from Miami all the way across the country back to San Diego and didn't have a day off. I mean, that's the ultimate fade spot. If it was anything else but the Cubs lineup versus a righty, Michael Wacha versus Jameson Taillon, I'd be betting the Cubs now. In fact, part of me still wants to bet the Cubs. I can't do it. Of course I can't do it because the numbers are terrible for a Cubs bet, but I'll go under in this one. It's obviously not going to be one of my favorite bets, but I'll take the under at 8.5. It's available at plus 100. Let's go with it. Next game. Braves at D-backs. Charlie Morton pitching against Merrill Kelly. Atlanta opens up as minus 120 favorites. Total opens up at 9. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and we got to lean on Arizona here. After 5 innings, we're looking at 2-1 D-backs. Final score 4-2 D-backs. Don't look now, but Merrill Kelly has found his stride. In the month of May, he's made 5 starts, 31 of the third innings pitched. So he's averaging over 6 innings per start. He's got a 2.59 ERA and an 0.83 whip in those 5 starts. So he's really been dealing. And he's pitching against a Braves lineup that has really gone south against right-handed pitching. In the last 30 days, they're just 22nd in WRC plus versus righties. That's 30 days. It's a solid sample size. Not going to lie, though, I'm a little concerned about Merrill Kelly's level of competition in those 5 starts. Sure, he's got great numbers in May, but he's pitched against Washington, Miami, Oakland, Pittsburgh, and Boston. And the Boston start was last weekend, so that lineup had already gone cold. Another thing, the Braves may have gone cold against right-handed pitching, for sure, but we got to keep in mind that this is one of the best road lineups in baseball, maybe the best on the season, and they're coming off a terrible series where they almost got swept in Oakland. I mean, if you're the kind of person that believes in wake-up calls, almost getting swept in Oakland would definitely qualify as one. On the other side, we got Charlie Morton on the road, and if you've watched my channel the last couple of years, you know I'm always down to fade old Uncle Charlie on the road, especially during the regular season. The thing is, this year, he's actually got some decent-looking numbers on the road, and his last road start was actually excellent in Texas. He shut the Rangers down, held them to, I think it was 6 scoreless innings with 10 strikeouts. He really pitched well, but listen, we know this guy. It's not like he's a rookie. To me, that means it's a perfect spot for him to come back to reality. Arizona's been a very tough place to pitch for both righties and lefties, but for righties especially. D-backs have won 5 straight. They're rolling right now. I think they definitely get to Charlie Morton. So I'm looking at an over here. As far as the bullpens go, both are pretty well rested, and both these bullpens have been somewhat solid. So I think I'm safer sticking to the first 5. Going first 5 over 5 next game. Last 2 games, we got Yankees at Dodgers and Orioles at Giants. We didn't have a chance to get to them, but we'll definitely go through all 15 games, and we'll go through the line movement for everything. See if anything changed. We'll go through all of that on the live show at 4 p.m. So if you're able to make it, hope to see you in the comments. If there's any major changes with anything I said in this video, injury updates, anything that may change any of these bets, I'll let you know on Twitter. So give me a follow there if you're interested in that. Also, if you want the final tickets that we post, which have our top bets, parlay of the day. It also has a list of every bet we're making and how heavy we're betting each of them. If you're interested in that, head over to KyleKirms.com. MLB Friday, my favorite baseball day to bet. We need a good day after yesterday. That Thursday sucked. Only 7 games, getaway day. We should have known better. We should have taken it easy. We got rocked, but it's okay. Let's put it in the past. Let's post ourselves up a badass Friday. Let's grab 2 or 3 units here. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you on Twitter.